Welcome back to Studio F, where on Fast Times with Willy we'll be talking about Argylle. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Take her away, Rusty.
Welcome back to Fast Times with Willy B. I'm Willy B. I got Mike back. Mike, how we feeling today?
Feeling good, man. It feels
Feeling
great
good.
to be back.
Good to have
on the
you back.
number one movie review show.
Stop it.
I mean, on the planet at this
Stop
point.
it. Stop
Come
it.
on, come on.
I appreciate it. Maybe one day. Maybe one day we can get there. But
You'll get there.
we're going to talk about Argylle today. So the new Matthew Vaughn movie, obviously. Matthew Vaughn making a name for himself when it comes to spy action films with the Kingsman
clearly.
trilogy. And then he also
Which we're both fans of.
dabbled
which
in
is
superheroes with X-Men movies. So, you know,
Another sucker for X-Men
there you
over
go.
here. So
this is right
I
up
had
your
to see
alley.
this movie.
It's
yeah.
a wonder why I picked you as my guest.
Weird.
But Matthew Vaughn, you know, making a name for himself, has some recognizable movies on the resume, and now he's going, you know, spy thriller again. Let's get it going, and he brings in a big cast for this
Oh
one.
my
You
God.
got Bryce Dallas Howard in the lead, Sam Rockwell in the top supporting role. You got Ariana DeBose returning after ISS. You got John Cena. You got Henry Cavill, Dua Lipa, Catherine O'Hara, Bryan Cranston.
Dua Lipa.
Should I go on?
Oh my God.
There's-
One complaint I have to say is why did they have to do my wife so dirty?
Not enough
Giving
Dua
her
Lipa.
like 10 minutes of screen time.
That might be being generous.
Might be, I mean,
It might be less. But
that might have bumped the score up. If she was in the whole movie, it might have been a
Yeah.
easy whole point.
there you go. But nonetheless, what a cast. He stepped out and used the budget to get some big names. That's for sure.
And also, like, I'm a big fan of Bryan Cranston,
Oh,
especially because of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
If you watch more of his stuff, especially Breaking Bad, he just does not miss. I think
No.
he's just like, he's one of those actors where no matter what character he plays or what movie he's in, he just knows how to act. I think
sure.
he could teach. He might teach acting classes somewhere.
McConaughey does it. Texas.
I know, but I
That's
think
so cool.
I think that he is like McConaughey to where he can just act straight up.
But that will lead us right into the good. Let's start with the good. So obviously the acting was all pretty good. I didn't think there was a
Yeah.
bad performance at all.
Not at
In my opinion, I thought the show was stolen by Sam Rockwell.
Oh my God.
I thought Sam Rockwell completely bodied his role here. And I thought he was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, and I love, like, I know we're going to get into this, but I love how he switches up to his, like, disguised character
Yeah.
on the train. Completely different personality. Like,
Yeah.
acts like this dorky kind of, like, homeless-esque kind
Yeah.
of guy to just this straight, like, chill kind of... Like, remember I told you, he kind of reminds me of Owen Wilson, the way he, like, smoothly talks
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
He just switches up his whole vibe and then still, like you said, takes
For
the,
sure.
takes the
I
show.
thought his action was great. I thought they choreographed his action very well as well.
Yeah,
I thought his
he
line delivery was great.
kicked ass.
Anytime he was in charge of the comedy, it was usually at its best, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was the funniest part of the movie. I thought he was the best action in the movie.
Yeah,
All around, this was, I mean, even if you don't think this is the greatest movie in the world, you've got to give a shout out to Sam Rockwell for his performance.
Oh, 100%.
I'm not saying it's award winning, but
Oh, no.
this is one of his better performances
This
of his
movie
career.
is worth a watch for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
for sure.
especially a fun theater watch.
Especially if you're a
Like,
Rockwell fan.
Yeah, that too.
But,
yeah. And if you're a fan of all these other big names, like they were cool to see, and
Yeah.
some of them in a different vibe, and
For
you know
sure.
what I'm saying.
I thought Bryce Dallas Howard was good. You know, the limited time we see
She's great. She's
Cavill,
great.
John Cena, Dua Lipa, they all did great. Samuel L. Jackson, we didn't even mention him in the cast
Oh,
list.
I
Samuel L.
didn't
Jackson.
even know. Like honestly, I knew it was stacked. Everybody else I kind of knew about, and then remember I was kind of shocked when
Yeah.
I said, "This motherfucker's in here."
Yeah, yeah. Samuel L. Jackson
like,
was great too, which
Jesus.
you know you're gonna get when Samuel L. Jackson's in a movie. So,
Right.
but Sam Rockwell for me was the star of the show. He blew me away.
Oh, 100%.
Every time he was on screen was easily when I was
his
the most
acting
captivated.
and the fighting choreography, how smooth he was, and
Yeah.
good at that. I mean, I don't know if I've seen any other movies that he's in. Didn't we talk about what else?
Iron
is-
Man 2.
Iron Man 2, but I can't really remember.
Which he said he'd return to the MCU if they asked him to come back as Hammer.
But that really showed him that he can play
for
a
sure.
kick-ass, like
After seeing this movie, I'd be cool with Hammer's character returning to the
beat
MCU.
the hell out of
Yeah.
10 dudes at once. Like, he could do, like, the Liam Neeson type just fighter, dude.
But, and then even when he's getting his ass kicked, he's still making you laugh.
Oh, yeah.
With a bloody
And
whip.
I liked how he still gets hit here and there. And thrown up against the wall or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Shot in the chest.
Literally.
But no, Sam Rockwell, I mean, I could go on and on with his performance. He was easily the best part of this film as far as acting goes. Bryan Cranston was probably my second choice as far as acting
I'd
goes.
say those two are my top two choices as well.
Bryce Dallas Howard if we're giving out a Bronze Award.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really cool concept.
It was super cool.
And the twists and turns were never ending. This was a movie that you could say is the definition of never let them know your next move.
Yeah, and you could... say we watched it with like a group of the boys. If any of them said, "Oh, I predicted that," I would call bullshit.
Yeah,
100%.
Unless they said it to me before.
Yeah, exactly. Like there were. I don't think. I mean, it got to a point. Remember where we were kind of like, "Oh, this could just be like a brainwash or like something." But it still like ends up being something. The only
thing I predicted was Sam Rockwell being alive after getting shot in the chest. Outside of that. A lot of good twists. There were some twists that I didn't predict, but I didn't think were great either. But for the most part, the twists were good.
I loved how with those twists, some of them, they waited to connect it towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing with him getting shot.
Yeah.
And then that email sent
Kiera,
to their old...
Which, that was cool.
That was part of their team.
The introduction is honestly a twist in its own because, it starts with this action-packed with Henry Cavill, Dua Lipa, John Cena, and that ends up not even being the main character. If you watch this trailer, you think you're coming into a movie that's all about Bryce Dallas Howard and Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
But no, it's Bryce Dallas Howard and
and it still kind of is because she's, we'll get to it.
Yeah, she sees the multiple people, but...
And I thought, I don't know about you, that first, scene, that first action scene with Henry and Dua Lipa and John Cena, I was like, this almost seems kind of corny to me.
Yeah.
It's too corny for
I didn't like the introduction.
You know what
honestly.
I'm saying? But now,
when
it is because you know how if they put like a movie or a story in a movie, it tends to be a little cornier to me, like because it's got to be a different vibe to what the serious.
Well, that introduction when it was going on, I almost felt like it was like a spy commercial. It felt like a commercial.
Yeah, it did.
And then it cuts to her book signing, and you find out, Henry Cavill character is her main character in her book. But then you really find out that it's actually her, and she's been the twists were insane.
Oh my god!
I'll give the movie that. The twists were good.
It's crazy
well
because, she obviously was brainwashed, and then her whole coming up about writing the books and everything, and she just suddenly is great at writing about spies.
Yeah.
And then once you find out that she is who she's writing about and was brainwashed.
Argylle,
that was sweet. I loved that. But also it makes you think to yourself like, why didn't I think of that? But that still got me.
Yeah.
Like I still was like, maybe I could have thought of that, but no way.
You think
it was such a great
that Cranston and O'Hara are her parents, and then Rockwell is saving her, but then you find out that Rockwell's her significant other, and Cranston.
Then you
and
think
O'Hara.
Argylle is Rockwell's character.
Yeah.
When Argylle is actually
it's insane.
Rachel.
The twists.
Rachel.
The twists were very well timed too, because I'll get into it later with pacing issues, but it seemed like every time I was, maybe getting out of enjoying this film or nodding off, a twist would happen and you're completely back in.
Yeah. And I also think that the first twist happened and then some time went on. Yeah. Then a twist, and the time periods between twists kept getting shorter and shorter as the movie.
The ending was just crazy.
Then the later it goes on, the more you kind of dialed in,
My last thing for the good is the scene where they get back together after, we find out he's alive with the chest and everything, and they go crazy on all the guards, and
and the smoke bombs.
They're just shooting all these people, but what we see is their imagination, which is all of these
them dancing,
colorful smoke and them dancing. I really liked that because it was 100% Matthew Vaughn. It obviously reminded me of the head explosions from Kingsman.
The most wild, well thought out, creative, different fight scenes like you'll see
But
in any movies.
the use of
so
much
dramatic
color
and oh my god, yeah.
I thought Matthew Vaughn did a really good job with that scene.
And I feel like you know how in like fight scenes in action movies it's kind of become a cliche to like slow motion, stop and slow mo a little bit, but for some reason it's just his style, and I love that.
Yeah, but yeah, that scene, the color,
I mean,
all Matthew Vaughn.
My good is like I wasn't disappointed with any of the fight scenes. I liked all of them.
The action was good.
My favorite one was, the skating scene, the skating on the oil.
Okay.
I
have a differing opinion on that.
So unique. Didn't expect it, but then when she put the knives in her boots, I think I whispered to you, this is gonna be crazy. Yeah. And it was so elegant and just. For sure. Because I was talking to Court about this, I was like, another thing that they refer to like sword fighting and blade fighting is dancing. So it almost seemed like a dance when she was sliding around and just literally killing everybody with just 2 knives in her hands. Yeah. It was badass. But I want to hear your opinion on it, obviously.
I'll get into it when we get to another category. Do you have any more goods you'd like to add?
I think my goods were the plot twists, the fight scenes. The performances we really liked. Yeah. We kind of
the performances were
hit it on the nose.
So we'll hop over to the meh. What I'm going to start with in the meh is the special effects. There were some scenes where the effects were solid. Yeah. But there was also a good amount of scenes where the special effects...
were noticeable.
Yeah, were visibly bad. So I put it in the meh because it's not all bad, but it's definitely not good either. A bigger budget, but I don't know. It was disappointing to see some of the special effects flaws. But then there were scenes that pulled you in, like, the smoke scene was obviously done with mostly special effects. Yeah. I thought that scene was done really well. But there was a lot of explosions and some fight scenes looked cheesy.
And some parts of the smoke scene also had little flaws that you could pick out.
The cat was CGI a lot, and I didn't like that either.
Yeah. Like, I thought the one scene, remember where they have to jump out of the building onto the... Yeah. Towards the boat. Yeah. Like, I thought it was funny how when they hit it, the cat flew up. But you could tell it was a cheesy, shitty, cat. CGI. Yeah. But it was funny, so it's okay.
Sure. Watching Tom and Jerry at this point. Right. But the special effects could have been better. I also, the only performance I'd put in this category was Catherine O'Hara's. I thought she started out strong as the mom, but once the twist comes out that she's not the mom, I thought her acting got really flat. When she had to incorporate the accent and stuff. Yeah, I didn't like the accent. I thought the delivery was a little flat, a little weak.
Which is weird because, have you ever heard of the show Schitt's Creek? Yeah. When she's like the mom in it.
I've heard it, but I haven't seen it, but yeah.
She doesn't have she has this rich woman voice. Yeah. Like a really uptight kind of and she does it really well. So I thought kind of maybe if she tried to when she tried to do that accent, I just don't think it was for her. Maybe.
I wasn't a fan of O'Hara. And then this is where I would put the oil scene specifically. That's the only action scene I was not a fan of. I don't know. I think it was partly because the special effects were a little weak in it. I don't know. I just feel like it was a stretch. That's my take on it.
But that's his fight scenes are always out there and dramatic.
You know what I'm saying?
That. The church that's what I liked. I have never seen that's one thing that I liked about it was I've never seen a fight scene kind of like that.
And I feel like this will be a scene that anybody that enjoys this movie will end up liking. It was just for me, I found myself cringing. I don't know why. It's hard to explain. It's one of those ones I didn't like it, but I'm not sure why.
One point in that at the what was kind of like Bryan Cranston's head guy that she had to kill at the end of that skating scene. Remember where it slowed down? Yes. I thought that part where it went into slow motion, she threw the knife was kind of
Well, then my other gripe with it, and this is me just being nitpicky. Mm-hmm. There's a part in it when she goes down to her knees and is rolling through the oil on her knees, slicing people, and then she gets back up and there's nothing. There's not a drop of oil on her.
Oh really? I didn't. I see. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, and when I saw that, I was like, ugh. Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you noticed this. I was gonna bring it up. Remember, she took her heels off in the lab after switching up on Bryan Cranston's character again. Yeah. How did she get the boots to put the blades on?
That's a good point too. So it's just a little bit of plot holes there. Yeah, it's little inconsistencies, but. Yeah. Like I said, that's being
You
nitpicky,
have those. There's so many movies.
especially when you have a
those,
movie
dude.
that's as buck wild as this.
Yeah,
I mean,
so many moving parts. It's hard to keep track
Yeah.
of everything.
but you'd like to see them be done the way they should at the same
100%,
time.
yeah.
That's it for me in the meh.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of have similar opinions on that.
So we'll hop over to the bad. For me, the pacing I'd put in bad. We have a differing opinion on this because we already like semi talked about it, but
Well, I kind of just when I was talking about the plot twist earlier, that kind of gave you what I thought the pace was.
Yeah.
Slow at first, and then it sped up once they.
I mean the third act is definitely fast paced. But I thought they could have cut 30 minutes out of this movie. I thought it was too. I thought 2 hours and 20 minutes was way too long. I found myself nodding off once or twice.
I saw you getting on your phone a little bit. I
Well,
almost elbowed your
I
ass.
keep my notes on my phone, but yeah, it was just I don't know. I thought it was way too long. Not way too long, but it was definitely too long.
Could have been shorter.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna disagree with you on that.
But pacing was bad, and I just thought it was messy. I put messy in the bad category because this is part of the oil, not having the knees. The boots
just
going messy.
things you noticed that they should have noticed. That is definitely part of the bad.
There was a lot of minor things that if they were done a different way, could have gone a long way. Mm-hmm. And it was messy all over the place. For some people, this is a movie that's gonna be very hard to follow.
Yeah.
But
like you said, I mean, I'm a big fan of the Kingsman movies. Big fan of a lot of the actors in it. Mm-hmm. So I was like locked in the whole time. I was dialed.
But that's it. That's all I have for the bad. Like I don't think there's anything extremely bad. Just cut it 30 minutes. Make sure you're doing everything that you should to make this the best movie possible. And
hold on now. Remember earlier when we were talking about the actor, that Algerian actor that we just pulled up? She's the girl that gives her the briefcase.
That's who she is. Okay.
I was literally just remembered that scene too.
Yeah.
Because I thought their interaction was pretty corny.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was one thing that I.
Yeah.
Which I mean, dude, no, it's like a broken record. It's like the Kingsman movies have some corny moments. It's just.
Yeah, I think
part of their personality.
Definitely fewer and farther between than this film, though.
Yeah,
I definitely wouldn't say this is near the top of Matthew Vaughn for me, but I don't think it's as bad.
First Kingsman is hard to beat.
The First Kingsman's so good.
God, dude.
But did you have anything you wanted to add to the bad?
Not pretty much got that covered.
So we'll hop to final thoughts and rating. For final thoughts, this definitely wasn't as bad as the critical reception it's getting.
Oh. Dude.
I thought it was a much better movie.
We were talking about like Rotten Tomatoes, but like I've been looking at IMDb now, and I think IMDb gave it like a
6.1.
6, low 6.
Yeah, IMDb's weird,
which
though.
I think is
IMDb's weird because I feel like all of their movies are between a 5 and an 8.
I mean, you got to think about how many movies are out there. Like
that's true. But
sometimes tomatoes are just handing out 9s. Like it's fucking.
It's hard to like take either with a grain of salt. I mainly just look at them Rotten Tomatoes and specifically
just to be curious
to see if I'm closer to the critics or the people because they have the audience score.
And that is not going to stop me from watching a movie.
Which I feel like this got a decent, not a great audience score, but it got a better audience score than the critic score.
I bet.
So I'm more with the audience on this. I don't think it was a 3.5 like the critics gave it.
Not a must see, but a worth a watch.
Oh yeah, it's definitely 100%. Not a must see, but worth the watch. That's the perfect way to put it.
Just a fun action movie
for sure.
You won't be disappointed with.
What do you give this 1 out of 10?
I'd probably go like a 7. I'm gonna go 7.4.
7.4. Okay.
Not quite the C average.
The first person to not go half or zero, being unique on this one. 7.4. For me,
if you want it, I'm gonna go 7, or like I'd probably go if I had to pick one. Like if I had to, I'd probably go if this were my show, I'd probably do like 0.5.
That's solid number. That's what I do.
Okay, then 7.5.
7.5. Okay, solid 7.5.
That's what I'll.
For me, I landed at 6. It was decent, but it wasn't any. There was too many flaws to put it in the good category for me. There was a lot of good. Like I said, this is one of my favorite performances of Sam Rockwell's career. But the good didn't outweigh the bad enough for me, and so I landed on a 6. Which at the end of the day, a 6 isn't a bad movie.
I mean, that's above
average. I'd say 5 is average.
Yeah, 5 is average.
Movies are different than
Yes.
attest.
Like grades, yeah.
But it's a 6 for me. Like you said, you put it the perfect way. It's worth the watch, but it's not anything that you need to rush out and see like tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't deter that. I don't want to deter anyone.
Like I feel like who I've been telling like that I saw it and I given my opinion. I said, honestly, it's fun to watch in the theaters.
Yeah.
But wouldn't blame me if you want to wait for a streaming service.
Yeah.
But when it comes on a streaming service, yeah.
I'm a big believer in support the cinema, support the theaters,
Of course,
support
yeah.
cinema. So,
Well, of course, yes.
I'm always going to say no matter what, go see a movie if it interests you even a little bit. 100%. This is one that if it interests you a little bit, go see it because it's worth the watch. It is worth the watch.
100%.
That'll do it for Argylle. Thanks, Mike, for coming on.
Brother, it's always a pleasure.
And thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some of these other videos. Hit the subscribe button up here. Social links down in the description below. Might as well follow. They're here, right? You might as well follow. So.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me. I was like, what you want me to put my Instagram in there?
No, they might as well. They're watching. They might as well follow, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But, like usual. Thank you.
If you don't follow after this, what are you doing?
Exactly. It's like if you what were we talking about? If you haven't seen a movie, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What movie was it? If you haven't seen The Kingsman, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But we were talking about something. Anyways,
what are we talking about?
Thank you again for watching. Thanks, Mike, for coming on.
Of
Make
course.
sure you do all the
Can't wait to come back.
subscribing, of course. Mm-hmm. And we will talk to you all soon. Peace.